And I am next one. So again, welcome. If this is your first time or your 100th time joining our community of practice, we welcome you to our PFCC Partners Community of Practice Workshop. We at PFCC Partners, this is what we're all about. You see our mission, our vision, and our values. We want to see a health system transformed into one that works with people and through communities as partners in their well-being. We catalyze system improvements by centering that human experience of health. And we absolutely recognize the critical role that community engagement must play for every effort at delivering health equity. So we know that the healthcare system is very complex. There are a lot of people, different organizations and agencies that are involved, and that complexity can make it difficult for people to access their healthcare that is aligned with their needs, their health priorities, and their preferences. So we at PFCC Partners, we believe that a system that centers the care and care processes around the person is critical, integral, and has the ability and the potential to reduce the complexity, as well as being able to advance a cultural, humble, equity, and equitable healthcare system.
Actually, you know what?
We recognize that there needs to be a space for patients, family caregivers, and community voices to drive these improvements. And one of the ways that we do that is through our PFA network. Our PFA network is comprised of, it was made by and for patients and family caregivers. It's a community of patient family advisors for patient family advisors. So those that have lived experiences being able to share and be those catalysts for change. If you have not already joined or not familiar with the PFA network, we invite you to join. Check us out and how you can get involved in the different areas, whether it's through engagement opportunities, through community, or through those skills development. And we will drop that link where you can find more information about the PFA network as well. So without further ado, I am super excited to introduce my friend, Kyle Pease, who comes to us from Atlanta, Georgia. He is the Chief Inspirational Officer and co-founder of the Kyle Pease Foundation. I had the pleasure of meeting Kyle in 2012, I believe. And I've been running with his foundation ever since with my son, Noah. And he and the foundation have completely changed my life. I'm trying to get to the video. That's why I'm pausing as I go through. I'm going to stop share because I'm being tech challenged right in this moment. But Kyle has been an inspiration, not only to me, but to many that he encounters, and shows how you truly can persevere through all of life's challenges. So here we go. Let me share. Okay, are you all seeing it? No, are you all seeing the video? It's not playing yet. Okay, I got a thumbs up from Lindsay.
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Hey Google, turn on the bedroom bulb.
My name is Sam Harrison. I've known Kyle for
Morning, bud.
14 years, been his
aide and caretaker, but more importantly, just a friend over all those years. Usually we'll arrive sometime between 5 a.m. and 6:30, depending on how Kyle's day is looking. Get up, figure out what he's doing for his day, if he's going to work or if he's gonna be moving around. Some days he gets in full dress clothes, some days it's more relaxed in sweatpants. Too early. I think one of the biggest that people don't even notice is how important it is to him to have an apartment, a place he can call home where he can go and come as he needs to. Get his feet strapped in nicely.
Every day it's such a challenge.
But for now, once we get him in, it's kind of, that's where he is for the day.
Hey Google, turn on the door.
As you can see, the apartment is pretty automated. This apartment has been a saving grace for Kyle. From the very beginning when he moved here, just over a year ago, he felt lighter. His spirits felt lifted, not as heavy, depending on so many more people.
And I'll never forget the first week I moved in here and I opened the door by myself and I said to Sam, like, hey bud, I opened the door by myself. Outside of my family, Sam is one of the best guys I know. I love you, man, you know, but I can't imagine my life without him now.
You know, Kyle waits for somebody to brush his teeth every day. I think that's what we've been doing Kyle's whole life, is helping him find ways to do things on his own. But there's still been a few pieces that he couldn't, you know, triathlons and these endurance sports were ways for Kyle to finally realize his full potential as an athlete. I mean, we've said it in other interviews that we've done, is that we've learned through this, Kyle was always the toughest competitor. We just didn't know. Being able to open a door and go into his own apartment and not have to wait for somebody, it is really special. And to be able to start creating that more here, you know, beyond, we keep saying that we want to help athletes push beyond limits, but it's pushing beyond so much more. And there's a beacon for all of them, and it's Kyle. That for Kyle to just go out of our front door and get on the bus and ride MARTA. You know, when I turned 16, I started driving. That was my independence. When Kyle was old enough that my parents were comfortable letting him ride the train by himself, he did it. Kyle was never going to just be left to sit in the ante room. You know, he was going to be a part of everything that everybody else did, and he was going to have to figure out how to do it.
Everybody on my team has a uniqueness to my life.
Coming out here today,
I'm so proud of Brett for who he has become, and really he made so many sacrifices to help this baby become a reality. And now we have seen my baby, the Kyle Pease Foundation, go from a newborn and now he's almost a teenager. And that's a big credit to Brett. I really can't put it into words what Brett has meant to me as a brother and the executive director of the foundation, but he has made this foundation go. At the end of the day, we all have a story, and this is a part of my story, and I'm a better man for it.
So without further ado, I'm going to ask Kyle and turn this over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and happy Friday. It's an honor to come before you, and I love this community. I had no idea that Naomi was such a part of something special, and there needs to be more groups like this in our front door. So, Naomi, thank you for having me, and for the entire staff. Thank you. So my name is Kyle Pease. I have cerebral palsy, spastic quadriplegic, CP, which means all four of my limbs are involved. I have Brett, who is my older brother, and I have a twin brother who lives in New York. And he's way cooler than me and Brett put together. So that's that. I have been persevering my whole life. Naomi can probably second this. No, and not an answer in my vocabulary. It's all about saying yes. So I wanted to start in before I go into the PowerPoint. God, I want this to be a interactive conversation. I do not want to talk the whole time because that will put everybody to sleep. And it's 3:15 on a Friday afternoon, so we need to get started for the weekend. So if there's anything that you would like me to stop and ask questions, please feel free to cut me off or put it in the chat. So I'm all about persevering. I'm all about saying yes. So how do we do that? And I think as parents and caregivers, we all play a vital part in our success of our loved ones. And I'm going to use the loved ones instead of a person with a disability, because I get don't like the disability word. That's a me thing. That's not a you thing. But I'm gonna call the community loved ones. So our loved ones are they are the backbone to what we do. Without our loved ones in our community, none of this will be possible. So how do you persevere? As you can see, I listed 4 of them, and I'm not good at PowerPoint, I must say. So I put this together and I changed it a couple times. But I'm pretty proud of myself that I did it on my own. So you'll have to excuse how short it is and all that. But to persevere is to overcome obstacles. There's a Webster definition, I'm sure, but the way I look at it is to persevere and to overcome your obstacles. And we all have obstacles. And for our loved ones, some of us, our obstacles are more noticeable than others. So that's how I persevere it through these 4 main topics: advocacy, boldness, leadership, and empowerment. And if you look at the acronym, it's APRIL. And I really thought about this long and hard because when I was in college, I went to Kennesaw State University, which is about 20 minutes north of Atlanta. And I majored in sports management. But a part of our curriculum was the APRIL group at Kennesaw State. And this was our motto, and it just really stuck with me. And I am going to go through each point throughout the talk, but I really want to highlight advocacy and how to be your own advocate, because to me, that is the first step of persevering. Is we have to speak up, and if we don't speak up, nobody will know, right? They don't know unless we tell them. And so, how how do you bring how do you bring the advocacy to somebody else's attention? And we do it through who we are as a person. And we do it through examples, by by telling the person what you need and how you need it. You know, a great example is if your loved one is in school and you go for an IEP meeting and you don't agree with every agenda that they offer to your loved one, then that is your opportunity to speak up and say, whoa, this is what I need. Not this is what I want, but this is what I need, because this is what worked at home, or this is what worked in the job force. So I think just remember to meet them where they are. And we are the driver of our bus, right? And that bus makes many stops along the way. Sometimes it picks up struggling, sometimes we're on the struggle bus. You know, most of the time I'm on the struggle bus every day. But
Cal, let me ask you a quick question since you're
Yeah.
talking about advocacy. In
Yeah.
that regard, we have several people who are within the health system. And so as you talked about IEP, that made me think of who's here on the call. So what does advocacy look like with loved ones, whether it's the person as a patient and or their family member? And from the health system standpoint, how do we advocate for each other? Let me stop there.
Yeah, no, that's great. For that, I think in the medical field and you beat me to the punch, Naomi, because I was getting there, but I think that is the most critical piece, because most of us have to see a doctor at some point in our life. And for our loved ones, we might have to go more than one, or more than a quote unquote able-bodied person visit the doctor. And so I think for that, I think advocacy comes in, and you have to be very direct with what your requests are. And you know, that's something that I've had to learn, is how to be more direct and how to not beat around the bush. Because doctors are busy and they don't give you a lot of time, but you have to, one, you have to write everything down. And if you don't have the ability, or you need assisted, write it, have to write it down for you, or reach out to a friend and tell them, you know, what you would like. For me, I write everything in my phone under my notes. And so when I go to the doctor, I get very overwhelmed, and I get a little bit nervous. But then nobody is going to speak up for me except for me. So because I take myself to the doctor, so it's important for me to get out everything that I need to get out. And if I don't get it out, or if I forget, guess what? I emailed the doctor right away. So I think that the more willing you are to put yourself out there and advocate for yourself, the better the appointment will go for you. I'll stop there. Forget a second and see if there are any questions.
So you
Right.
all can drop questions in the chat as well. Rosie has, for me, advocacy is a two-way street. Yes, it's important to advocate for myself, but I also believe I can advocate for others because of my lived experience. Awesome, Rosie. And that takes us, Kyle, I want to follow in that vein and tell if I'm derailing your presentation, tell me and say, Naomi, we'll come back to that. And I'm doing it this way because I know you and we have a relationship, and I don't know how many opportunities those that are participating with us today have the opportunity to engage with family members, patients on this level. And so just wanting to be able to give a little more insight of how we work together. So knowing that the foundation, the Pease Foundation, was started in 2011, and that's all about bringing success, crossing the finish, a winning line of individuals with disabilities being able to have a place to win. Is that an accurate way of saying that?
Yeah.
Okay. And so one of the things that you have done as the foundation is now a teenager, which is exciting to see. You all have partnered and you've grown and partner now with CHOA, the Children's Hospital of Atlanta. And in a time we found where the nation shifted in 2020, and now we're talking more, and there's more not just words, but actions behind health equity. So how did that partnership with CHOA come about, and what does that mean? How does that benefit the community, not just the Pease Foundation, but those that come from the Children's Hospital of Atlanta? How did that partnership come about, and why is that meaningful?
It came about because honestly, by word of mouth, that came about because my brother Brett was training the chief administrative officer of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and Brett told her a little bit about the foundation, and then she met with me one-on-one. And I think that anytime somebody meets with me one-on-one, that's a huge step of connecting to the foundation and to our community. Like, because we all have, like I said in the video, we all have a story, and we all wanna be a part of something unique and something special. And that was a huge sign. And I wanted to partner with CHOA because so many of our athletes have doctors there and they have resources there. And I just thought that the synergy that was already established at CHOA with our athletes was made even before the foundation even came about. So I wanted to build it. I didn't want to break it. I didn't want to start from scratch. And I did that. It's in our backyard. And so, why not come in and foster a environment of inclusion for a loved one? And truth be told, most of our volunteers have come from Gilbert, South Carolina. So I love the partnership, and it has now become one of my marquee events. The public have marathon, and we do a whole weekend around that. So they have been nothing but great for us, and we look forward to working with them for many years to come. Naomi, I think Lisa has a question, if you could read that to me.
Mhm. So Lisa is asking, she says, Kyle, for people with special needs, do you see a different approach or different skills that are needed in patient advocacy?
Yes, I do, Lisa, and thank you for your question. I think it's a wonderful question. And I think Mike as a doctors help us with our needs. I think it is also our educational piece for our loved ones and on their caregivers to tell the doctor about what we need and what works for us. I can think that for anybody in the medical field, I think it's very powerful that they get to know us and that we are not just a number to them, that we are Kyle and we are Lisa and we are Noah. You know, we matter. And so I think it does take a special kind of advocacy for us to explain to the medical professionals who we are and what we need. And you know what? That might mean that some of the medical professionals have to spend a little bit more time with us. And whatever we need to help our loved ones be the most successful people that they could be, that's what I'm all about. And that's another form of advocacy along the way. Is, you know, how do we build them and not break them? And you know, if it's a challenge, it's okay to tell them that and get them to spend 5 extra minutes with you or however long it takes. You know, I think for our population, it is important that we get everything out on paper and articulate that to the doctors and the nursing staff so that we can so that they can help us, but we can help them at the same time. Everybody on the same team, and I think that's critical for us to ask the question that we need to ask, and so that we can get the answers that we are looking for. So Lisa, thank you for your question. I think that is very powerful.
I'm going to read this comment and I'm going to come to another question for you, Kyle. So Lori says, I love that you mentioned that you are the driver of the bus. Sometimes in healthcare as providers, we forget that the lived experience is much richer and more informed than what we know from the books and a few patients. Love knowing that you ask for what you need, true advocacy. So Kyle, you mentioned, well, in the video, you live in your own apartment. Yay, you're giving me ideas for Noah. But so you have your independence and you work. And so I know a lot of times people, we make judgments by what we see, and we don't necessarily ask questions. And so you have held several different jobs, one being in healthcare. And so as we talk about and we have a group of people who we have a very diverse group of people. I don't know if you know those that are joining the call today. So some are health system administrators, researchers, others with lived experience, family caregivers, and so on. And so being able to speak to all of us as you are, but thinking about the positions that you've had, especially in healthcare, what does that look like from an employer standpoint? And what does that look like to you from an employee, from an employee standpoint? Why is that important? And how do you, when people say we can't do it because X, Y, and Z?
That's a real good one. And that brings me to the E, empowerment. And we'll go back to boldness and leadership in just a minute. But I'm going to drop down to that E, empowerment, because when I worked at Piedmont Atlanta Hospital, which is in Midtown Atlanta. So it's at the heart of the city. And when I went in for my interview, I was very direct with them. I wanted to empower myself, to empower them, to help me to be the best employee that I can. So I had to, tell them that I need help with the restroom and that I need help with the lunch. And they were very good about helping me in the beginning. But as time went on, I kept having to remind them about it. And luckily, and by God's grace, I met a lot of friends there that took over some of that help. And by no means was it that Piedmont forgot, because they didn't. But we had a check-in every month when my boss would come to my workstation and say, "What can I do for you?" And that meant the world to me, because to me, that told me that he cared about me, and that he wanted me to empower myself to empower others. And I'll never forget the only time in my 10 years that got called to HR was when they switched our schedule from 5/8 to 4/10. So I worked 6 o'clock to 4:30, 4 days a week. And I did that for about 3 years. I worked at Piedmont Atlanta for 10 years. And the last 3 years was the 4 10-hour day. And I had a challenge with my boss. Like, I think it was amazing that she always said, "What can I do for you, Kyle?" And it's like, but I told her, I said, "Look, I'm responsible for a team of caregivers, and I cannot have them on the road at 4 o'clock in the morning coming to get me at 4:30. I said, my mom kept with me. And I depend on these caregivers, because if I'm late to work, that's not on my caregiver, that's on me. So, like, help me to help you. Like, help me to be the best employee. And she really, it didn't go anywhere. So I went to HR, and they were like, "We'll give you 30 days or you can make this work, or you can find another job. By no means am I throwing people under the bus, because it was a good 10 years. But I really struggle with that. I lost a lot of empowerment, to be honest with you, because I I need a job. I need the money to pay my bills, to pay my rent. But I also wanted to speak up for others. You know, it really touched my soul. You know, it was kind of like somebody was sticking their pen in me, and it wouldn't go away. And how can I solve this problem to make it easier, not only on me so I could get to work, but on my care team, on the people that on my life with, who my independent. You know, how was I gonna, someone that I had to wake up at 3:45 in the morning to get to me by 4:30. And what kind of, and I go to leadership, what kind of leadership am I showing? I always show my caregivers to respect, and I'm always advocating, for what I need. But is it right for them to have to get up at 3:45 to have me out the door by 5:30 so I can get to work by 6? No, but somehow, some way, we made it work. And was I happy about it? No. But I think those skills about how I spoke up and how I went to HR and how I followed the chain of command with my bosses and all that really empowered me to be the best leader. And sometimes, like I said in the beginning, you have to go on the struggle bus to advocate better, to be more bold, and to stand up for what you believe. And all of that has helped me to become the best leader and listen to my caregivers and listen to the employees of the Kyle Pease Foundation and learn from them and help them to advocate. We have an employee, Justin Knight, who processes all of our task letters. So he does about 3,000 task letters a year for the foundation. And he worked behind the scenes, and I've been working with Justin on a regular basis every day. And I have to remind him, I say, look, man, we are friends, but at the same time, I don't know unless you tell me what you need. If it's going to be a bad day because of health episodes that he has along the way, let me know. And if his mom needs to call me to let me know that, he can need the hour. That's fine. The more I know, the more I can help. So I think that is where my struggle was all of a sudden Piedmont just shifted the schedule without telling us. And then they wanted all of us to go to this new schedule. And unfortunately, I made it work, but it wasn't the most healthy work for me. And I couldn't, I really tried to advocate, but I think in a corporate setting that I was in, you do have to really speak up. And I really did not feel heard in the last couple of years on my time at people.
So you made a shift. What I heard, thank you for that, Kyle. and there is a question, another question that has been dropped in here, but part of what I heard is you all both took a chance. You took a chance in asking and going and applying for the position. They took a chance in interviewing and hiring you, and y'all made it work some kind of way in 10 years. What was your role? What were you doing?
I want the greeter, but
Okay.
we did way more than greeters.
Yes, you do.
Um, we looked up pages with the loved ones came into the hospital, and we would either escort them to their loved ones or we would take them to their doctor's office. And I think that's another thing. If I could speak about that for 1 second, I think it's critical that in a time of need that I was there to serve them and to help them get to where they need to go. Now, Piedmont did not always like me leaving my desk because I couldn't help the next patient. But I knew that some of the patients, they will articulate that they were overwhelmed or they were a little bit nervous about their appointment. And whenever you go to a healthcare facility, you get lost. I don't know what it is about healthcare facilities, but they don't make it easy for you to navigate their arena. So it was very important for me to escort them all the way to the doctor's office and get to be that reassuring voice, that everything was going to be okay. I didn't know why they were there, and that wasn't my business, but I wanted to go the extra mile to kind of bridge the gap for them.
I'm gonna go to this question as you're saying in bridging the gap, and for those who work in the healthcare system, just to be able to connect those dots potentially, as you have your greeter, we may get upset because they're not at their station, but just imagining how they could be calming the patient and or their family member down, so you don't have an explosive encounter by the time they get to whatever the appointment is, or they're not. It helps with timeliness with getting to the appointment, right? And so knowing how important that is. So I just want to try and connect some of those dots for
Yeah.
if that's a challenge for
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
So this next question is from Paul, and he says, thanks for this call. Have you seen any improvement over the years? And which are some areas you would like healthcare workers to focus more in taking care of persons with disabilities or your loved one?
Yeah, Paul, that's opening Pandora box a little bit. I would say for me, would be with you and Naomi, you could go to the next slide. Here, because this guy talked about what Paul is asking, and I think that we all need to go in and slow down, especially with the loved ones, because again, it might take extra time, or you never know what they're going through, or you never know how long it took them to get to your office. And so I think that, if you see on your schedule that Kyle is coming in and you read a little bit about Kyle and his cerebral palsy, and that you will just take your time and make sure that you go over everything, whether it's the bowels or whether it's the leg or the knee or the ears or the head or how's your heart doing? And that's something my general practitioner doctor always asks is how's your heart? And And whenever he asks that, it is not every visit that he asks that, but about once a year, he says, Kyle, how's your heart? And my answer every time is, you know what? It feels very overwhelmed. But he always says, this is how I fill your cup. Yes, I'm here to be your doctor, but I want to invest in you. I want to hear how the foundation doing, how your house going. You know, like that's important. So I think, Paul, to answer your question, I think it's a case by case scenario with each patient and one. But I really think that we need to stop and listen and just be there for them, you know, tackle their challenges, their health challenges, and then maybe just ask them a few questions that 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 they will know that you care about them.
Thank you for that question, Paul, and thank you for that answer, Kyle. As you were talking about that and having the space for patients um, to ask all of their questions, one of the things when you talk about this and we look at health equity is being able, someone, a loved one, someone who has varying abilities, an appointment may take a bit longer. So so your appointment is not going to be a 15-minute appointment. My family's appointments are never 15-minute appointments. So how do we build in a time that adequately meets the needs of the patient and the caregiver, while from the business standpoint, still having the machine run. So just for the healthcare professionals out there, thinking about that, and for those with the lived experience and being able to think through, what does that look like for you? Rosie put in, know my story before I come to the appointment. I hate having to go to new doctors because most don't take the time to know me before I get there. There's one other question, and it's from me, Kyle. You all feel free to drop your questions in, or if you raise your hand, and I'll ask Lindsay to help me keep an eye on hands that may come up. But as you were talking in where you were working at the hospital, and in the video again, how you shared with Sam what it meant for you to be able to open the door to your apartment. So what does it mean to you to be independent? What does it mean for you to be living on your own and making your own money? Why is that important for people to know?
Oh boy. There are sometimes that I ask myself that same question. Um, but then I look at this second bullet point on this presentation, and it's I get to versus I got to. Throughout life, there are gonna be times that you got to do something. But I can say that living on your own provide me with a sense of purpose. It gives me hope to realize that I can do much more. And I can help so many other people be, as my brother said, that beacon of hope. And to realize that, me living on my own and making my own money is setting an example for others, a model that they can do it too. That I'm giving caregivers like Naomi ideas for Noah or for their loved one, and I get to do that. I don't have to do that. I get to, and I think that's so important when you realize that you get to do this. You get to be an advocate. You get to empower yourself and your loved one, and through that, you are being a leader. You are being bold. You are going above and beyond. I think that is something that we talked about a lot at Piedmont was the greeter, the custodian, the cafeteria worker. We were the ones that did the blood work, but we brought them to the doctors and nurses. They fed us, and so everybody in your organization, they matter, and they don't have to be there. They want to be there. They get to be there, and I think that is the most critical piece, that everybody that you serve in your facility, in your organization, that they matter, and they want to feel valued at the employee level and at the patient level. They matter. And so if it takes you an extra 5 minutes to talk with Naomi about her concerns, about her challenges, about her triumphs, like that is so important. And Naomi is coming into your organization. She could go to any other facility, but she chose your facility because of your care for her son. So don't ever forget that you get to do this. That we don't got to do it. We get to do it. So I can think that's such a critical piece that although this is so good for me to live independently and pay my bills and get whatever it might be, is also showing other people the possibility that they have, and it's giving people a sense of empowerment that they see that Kyle is doing this, so I can do it too. In my way might look different than Kyle's way, but this is how we're gonna do it. And these are the steps that we're gonna take to empower that individual to be independent. So I think I can think it's critical that we all slow down and we shift our mind to focus on everybody that comes through our door.
That's so rich and powerful, Kyle, what you said, and the comments are reflecting that, and the fact that you just said at the end, in the sense of slow down. We're coming out of the ending of the public health emergency. We all had to slow down during COVID, and we had the merge of the two pandemics. And so not forgetting where we were, and we all persevered to the best of our ability. And so how do we come out better with that? The mindset. So thank you for that. And the reminder of I get to versus I got to, and how we are able to make that that shift. A couple of other comments here, just mentioning about being able to have appointments right after lunch, longer appointments right after lunch, and that's a way to be able to get more questions covered for those who need more time, or where they're not a standard appointment. Are there any I know we're coming up on time, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. Are there any last questions that anybody might have for Kyle?
Naomi, I don't have a question, but Kyle, you are an inspiration. And I do a lot of work here in Wisconsin with many people with cerebral palsy and similar palsies like you have, and I advocate for them. And every time I spend time with them, I am humbled. And today you humbled me, because you make me feel like there's nothing I can't do and none of us can do to make life better for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What is, if people wanted to get in touch with you, what is a way that they can do that? And I'll type your email here in the chat.
You know what? I will give them my personal email address.
Oh, look at you. Y'all are special. Go ahead.
And then it's kpease35@gmail.com.
At who?
At gmail.com.
Oh, at Gmail. Okay. kpease35@gmail.com. Okay. I had started typing in your work email. See how much Naomi knows. Well,
Yeah.
Kyle, thank you so much for
Thank
coming and being open and transparent and sharing with us, for giving us that acronym of ABLE, advocacy, boldness, leadership, and empowerment, remembering what our mindset and that I get to versus I got to. I want to wish you all a happy and healthy Friday, a great last weekend in July, and we look forward to seeing you August 22nd, August 20 something. It's the fourth Friday. I'll get the right date out to you. Yeah, have a great one.
Thank you, Naomi. Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you.